What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to briefly talk about Life is Strange. I don't want to go too deep into like the retrospective path, but I did want to give this game some props and just give it a little bit of respect and talk about it because they announced, don't nod, today that the game has crossed 20 million players. Now, not necessarily games sold, because this has been on like subscription services or maybe it still is right now. I actually haven't checked. I own this game twice. I bought this game when it first came out, and then when they did that collector's edition physical, I actually bought it a second time. So I've done my part in supporting this game and got them 2 copies sold, but I do think it's maybe on a subscription service, or it once was. But regardless, 20 million. You know, when this game came out, let's get a little retrospective here. I don't want to go all the way because one day I want to give this game like the props it deserves in a massive essay-like video on my third channel, Podcast Now, Back to the Past. Check it out if you're interested. But okay, when this game first came out, my go-to story with this is I saw the trailer. I didn't know who Don't Nod was. I never played Remember Me at that time. And I told my cousin, who we were very close, and we would talk about games, and I told him, I said, this game looks incredible. I saw something with this game in terms of potential, and I told him, I said, like, look out for this game. Like, this is a game that I think is going to be really, really special. I'll be playing it. Like, you should play it. Game came out. He did play it. I became more of a fan, but he was a pretty big fan of it as well, and I freaking adored it. And I gotta say, I called it. And I feel like, you know, like I want to kind of, like, pat myself on the back as much as possible, just in life. But, no, I mean, in honesty, like, I want to say I was right because I did see potential in this thing, and I did see it as more than just because when this game came out, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this was in the era of the Telltales of the world, and obviously Don't Nod, where you could buy the episodes individually, or you could buy the season pass, but it's not like season passes now, right? You buy the whole thing, and it would be at a reduced price. I believe that Life is Strange was $5 an episode, so $25, but you could buy it for $20 if you just bought the whole game. I'm 99% sure that's what happened. So I did. I bought the entire thing at the beginning. And I just remember seeing in real time, and I actually covered this. This was one of the first games, maybe even the first game, I covered on the channel. And I actually did, but covered meaning I did, I think, like Let's Plays. Like I did live streams with terrible quality, terrible everything. And I think I took them down. They're still on the channel. They're just privated. So sorry, you might not be able to see them. But I remember, no joke, like in real time, not only me like thinking, yep, this is an instant great. Like I remember playing episode 1 and thinking, yep, I love it. I love it. This is one of the better games I've ever played for whatever reason. And every episode, my jaw would just freaking hit the floor with how incredible this game was. And just thinking, yep, like they nailed it. And I didn't know who Don't Nod was. I didn't know their history. This was their first big thing. This was the thing for them. So, and then like looking online and like, so while I had just started YouTube and I had no idea what I was doing, and I got like 2 views per, episode walkthrough, there were channels with millions, right? And there was channels that were doing predictions or theories for upcoming episodes, and they were getting hundreds of thousands of views. And I was just looking and saying, well, number one, like, how can I do that? But number 2, like, there's clearly something behind this game. There is clearly this cult kind of audience, but I think it became more than a cult thing. It became, this is just a generally, like, accepted huge game. And again, like, it was considered, I think, at least in the beginning, small. This is from a studio that's never done anything like worthwhile, like worth knowing about. Nobody knew, like, generally. Because Remember Me was not all that great of a game. It didn't sell all that well. This was the biggest thing. But at the time, it was small. And it was pitched, you could buy the whole thing for $20, right? Like, it was such a small thing. But 20 million, like, I kind of got away from, like, this major milestone. Why is it important? Well, how many games reach 20 million? I'll tell you right now, very few. Now, again, difference between sales, like how many games sell 20 million versus having 20 million people play the game, that is a difference. There's definitely, so you got to maybe take a little credit away from them, but you don't know how much. Maybe the game sold 14 million and 6 million played it for free, or 10 and 10, or maybe 17 million bought it and 3 million played it. Like, you don't know, right? But still, for a game of this, like, substance, to do 20 million, enormous. Like, that is such a big number compared to a lot of games. And I think that further just cements, it'll always be one of my favorite games of all time, but like, this game clearly had an impact and clearly way more people played this game than I think they thought. And I mean, I always have to throw my controversial opinion of 2 out, where I hate 2. And one day I'm going to give it another chance. I'm going to replay it and probably also do an essay video, on my 3rd channel. I do want to give it a chance, but I hated the thing, and I still hate it to this day. And I guess, like, to throw those jabs out there, this is the classic. This is the game that, like, really stuck. And I think you can tell that because when do you ever hear sales or even, like, the responses to, like, anniversaries whenever this game turns another year old? There's just so much more behind this game than 2 ever. Like, I sincerely believe 2 did not do anywhere remotely close to, say, 20 million, not even in the same ballpark. And that's just a jab at a little, because I don't ultimately, like, coming from my heart, I don't think it deserves it. Like, that's legitimately why I bring it up. It's to jab it because I just don't like it. But I literally think 1 just has something. I think if you talk about it long enough, you can discuss what that something is. There's just so many things with Life is Strange that made an impact on people. And I totally think it deserves to get to 20 million. I think you get 30, 40, 50. Like, there's a reason why it's gotten this far and why so many people still play it, played it before, respect it, talk about the anniversaries, all that stuff. Max is a character, right? Chloe even. I think Max maybe a little bit more so, right? Because Chloe's very divided, I think, amongst the fandom. So yeah, so that's my opinion on it. And it by the way, spawned the entire franchise. You got 2 because of the success of 1. I don't think they would have planned that out that way, right? If 1 didn't work, you wouldn't have gotten 2. True Colors, which I think is a really, really good game, tied for my game of the year back when it came out. I think, obviously, you wouldn't have gotten that game if it wasn't for Life is Strange 1. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think it's just a great milestone, that this game has hit. And like I said, I'll give this game the respect it deserves eventually on my 3rd channel. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next one.